There exists a realm between memory and myth, a shadowland where the heroes who shaped our young minds still walk their eternal paths. These are the Titans of Pulp, savage philosophers, righteous wanderers, doomed mystics, and cosmic vagabonds. They taught us that good and evil were not abstractions, but forces to be met with steel, will, and the fire of conviction. In those fever-dream years of adolescence, a paperback could turn a bedroom into Hyboria, and a comic panel could convince us that immortals truly stalked the borders of forgotten dimensions. Now, long after the first spark, we summon them again, not as canon froze them, but as they could be, as they should be. What happens when Solomon Kane, Howard's relentless Puritan, confronts Kane the Immortal, Wagner's cursed wanderer? In this could-be realm, we violate the boundaries of story not for spectacle, but for revelation, to see what these champions might teach each other and remind us about the real battles, meaning, mortality, the cost of power, and the burden of continuing when hope has already died. Because somewhere between Howard's iron certainty, Wagner's cosmic sorrow, Moorcock's doomed symmetries, Lieber's street-born cunning, Moore's anarchic sorcery, and Lovecraft's indifferent universe, there is a truth we have been hunting since the day we first opened their pages. A truth about why these heroes mattered, why they still matter, why the Titans must meet, even if only in the realm of the impossible. Welcome to Titans of Pulp, where impossible crossovers reveal inevitable truths. The church squatted like a wounded beast in the moonlight, its broken spire clawing at stars that offered no mercy. Two shadows converged upon its desecrated threshold, one striding with the certainty of the righteous, the other moving with the weariness of the eternal. Solomon Kane felt the wrongness before his eyes perceived the figure. Here was something that violated nature's law. Not demon, not man, but something between and beyond. His hand found his pistol's grip as he spoke the words that had served him across 100 supernatural encounters. Are you, or do you hunt the demon? The stranger turned, and Solomon saw eyes that held too many centuries. The moonlight revealed a face neither young nor old, marked by the peculiar exhaustion that comes not from age, but from existence itself. I hunt it, came the reply, flat as a tomb's echo. Have been for centuries. Centuries. Solomon's grip tightened, though his voice remained steady as English steel. Then you are not mortal. No. A pause stretched between them, taut as a hanged man's rope. The Immortal's gaze fixed upon something Solomon could not see, some nimbus or aura that apparently surrounded the Puritan. When next he spoke, his voice carried bitter amazement. What kind of a god uses you as an instrument? The Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. A laugh erupted from the Immortal, not mirth, but recognition of some cosmic jest. No. What kind of god looks at a mortal? Flesh that rots, bones that break, a life measured in decades, and says,
Yes, this shall be my weapon against the darkness that predates creation.
Solomon's reply came swift as judgment.
God chooses the humble to confound the proud.
The Immortal gestured at himself, and Solomon glimpsed energies that flickered like dying stars around his form.
I've accumulated power across millennia, knowledge that was ancient when your Christ walked the earth. And your God surveyed all that and chose
A gesture toward Solomon.
a man with a sword and a prayer.
Power without righteousness is nothing.
And righteousness without power.
The Immortal touched his chest, where those strange energies sputtered weakly.
That's merely waiting to die gloriously. Yet here, in this reality, your faith burns brighter than all my gathered centuries. Your conviction makes mockery of my knowledge.
Because it is his power, not mine. You wield what you've stolen or earned through sacrifice. I merely channel what was given freely through grace.
The Immortal studied him with those terrible, ancient eyes, and Solomon saw calculation replacing bitterness, the assessment of a tactician who has survived impossible odds.
The demon has adapted to this world's rules. 2,000 years to grow fat on mortal terror. It feeds on faith as readily as fear now. Your blazing certainty. You're either our greatest weapon or exactly what it hungers to devour.
Then we shall discover which. Together.
You trust quickly for one who has gazed upon cosmic horror.
Solomon's answer came without hesitation, cold and scripture.
I don't trust you. I trust that he sent you here, now, when I need you. Even broken instruments serve divine purpose.
The Immortal's mouth twisted, not quite smile, not quite grimace.
Broken. That's generous, Puritan. I was going to go with damned.
That remains to be seen.
Solomon turned toward the church's gaping doorway, from which emanated sounds that belonged to no earthly liturgy.
For now, we hunt.
They crossed the threshold together, the mortal who burned with heaven's borrowed fire, and the eternal who flickered with stolen lightning. Neither looked back. In the demon-haunted dark that awaited, their incompatibility might prove their greatest strength, or it would destroy them both. But that too, Solomon knew, would serve its purpose in the Lord's inscrutable design. Thus began the strangest alliance ever forged against the darkness. Not friendship, not brotherhood, but something harder and more honest. Two weapons wielded by forces they barely understood, pointed at the same ancient evil.